All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Nadya's Entrepreneurial Corner. Today, you are in for a unique treat because it's just like a quasi flashback episode. I mean, it's like we're in the present, but it's almost like flashing back because I'm speaking with someone who is a great friend and someone I am very grateful to have reconnected with recently. Marcia Bradley, who is a novelist, an instructor, and just an amazing human being. We met at Antioch University, God, way back. I want to say maybe like, when did we first connect there? Like maybe 2016.
Yeah, it was about 6 or 7 years ago. Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
something like that. And then we really connected when we were both editing for the Two Hawks
Mhm.
literary journal. And, we might be able to touch on some of those shenanigans on today's episode, but let's just say it was colorful to say the least. But since then, Marcia has become a full-blown published novelist with her most recent book, her debut, coming out with Harper's Home for Wayward Girls. Did I say
Mhm.
it right? Did I mess
Yeah.
it up?
Yep. Home
Okay.
for Wayward
I'm actually
Girls.
in the
That's
middle of
it.
reading it. It's so
Mhm.
good. It's so
Thank
good.
you.
So I want to give you the floor, Marcia, to give a more official introduction, but we are going to be talking today about what does it mean to say yes to yourself? Because we both have had similar journeys, obviously being at Antioch and then really taking leaps of faith to pursue our dreams. And so that's going to be the focus of today's episode. But again, first, I would love to give you the floor to tell us a little bit about your background.
Thank you. And when we decided to use this moment to talk about getting to yes, suddenly all the no's, all the possible no's jumped up in front of me. Like, who am I? Who am I to talk? What right do I have to talk? Um, who was I to get published out of all of these people who try to get published? And then I thought back and I remembered you and me and other people sitting around this table at Antioch trying to edit this literary magazine. And this was at least 7 years ago
Yeah.
when and you were the tech expert. You were there because you understood this thing called the internet and how to make things work. And I remember us like looking up as we were saying, do this, add this, put this in, and we would look up at you. And and it was like if your eyes weren't blinking, then we knew we were okay.
Oh, no.
And that you would make it work. But
It's all coming back, like the entire back end of like, gosh, like pending, like submission, like it's all coming back, submittable, like all of it.
but I have to say, I have on my resume, on my CV, that I was one of the editors of Two Hawks Literary Magazine. And that's a huge deal. From this very funny, humble little room at Antioch University, a bunch of us thinking, maybe if you click F7,
Right.
to today, where it's actually a qualifier for many things that I applied for. So it's that. But to go even before that, to the getting to yes, in the late 2000s, when the economy was falling apart, and I had been in marketing for over 20 years, but I had never finished college. Just never really, it was never a problem for me. Suddenly it was. Suddenly getting jobs was difficult. And I just
What was
decided.
that moment? Could you elaborate on what that one, like, what was that moment when you realized I might have a problem here? Like, what was that?
So late 2000, the first decade of the 2000s, suddenly headhunters would call me about jobs. I was out of work, and they would say, "You have a great resume," which I did, and then they would say, "Where's your degree from?"
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have a degree. And I said, I don't have a degree. And I was like a vice president of marketing at a huge organization. I never really
Right.
was a problem. Suddenly, no jobs. And headhunters would say to me, well, you have to go back and get your degree. And one of them, you know how these things just come out of the ethers. And one headhunter said, I said, but I have all this experience and I did go to school for a few years. And she said, there are colleges that will help you.
Mhm.
And I had no clue what she meant. But she just said that. And so I started thinking, what does that mean? What does that mean? Started looking around, pulled up a list of colleges, and
Yeah.
literally Antioch A was one of the first.
Because in alphabetical order.
And I just I said, oh, what's this Antioch? And it turns out it was like 5 miles from where I lived in Culver City. And
Mhm.
and they are one of those colleges that will help. They are one of
Right.
those colleges that actually give you credit for your living experience, for what you've done in the work world. So there you go. And I was sitting there thinking, is this crazy? Go back to school? What will I do for a living? And it was that moment of, hey, all these things lined up for you. Are you going to turn away from them, from a call from some person you don't even remember their name, saying
Right.
colleges will help you, to Antioch? And then I met the school that actually says, hey, we respect you for what you've done. So
Right.
it's just a series of those little miracles. And then you have to say yes, right, Nadya? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
If you say not, if you don't, what are you going to do?
Right. So was that like one of the biggest yeses in your life, or was there something before then that was like, kind of put everything in motion even before then?
I actually, if somebody were to ask me what were the best moments in my corporate life, I'd cite the few times I got fired. Um,
Mhm.
that those are the ones that give you that impetus to say, I'm better than that.
Mhm.
I can do, I will show them, I will go on and do. And I was rarely, I don't think I was sad. I was fired in that early decade. And I think I went and got my hair cut. Like I walked
There you
out
go.
and said, oh, well, whatever. And I think, but that also makes you sit there and assess and say,
Mhm.
am I doing what I want to do?
Right.
Is this where I want to be? Or is all of this a gift that's saying, go do something different? And then at Antioch, as you know, because it was a very small college and we all knew each other. And Antioch is a school so focused on writing of all kinds. And one of the professors said to me, you're a writer. And I
Mhm.
had always written, and I had always written books and stuffed them in a drawer. I never did anything with them.
So it was a hobby in the past, some like an outlet, a creative outlet that you
Yeah,
didn't really put too much credence in until someone gave you that kind of validation that you
yeah,
didn't even maybe realize you even needed.
that's right. And the magical words of a professor saying to me, "You're a writer,"
Mhm.
this professor was really wonderful. He came up to me, and we had assignments due every week. And after the first week, the first assignment, he said, "You're a writer. You don't have to do the assignments anymore. Just write and bring me something every week." And
Wow.
I know, just what a gift. And that
Talk
became
about preferential treatment. No, just kidding.
right. But I did write every week. I brought things in all the time. And some of them they still come out of my head. They're still in my writing.
Yeah.
Um, and then when I finished at Antioch, another wonderful teacher, Kaylee O'Dwyer and Deborah,
Oh, I love Kaylee. Hi,
Kaylee and Deb,
Kaylee.
you can't ask for two better board of directors for your own personal life than Kaylee and Deborah Lott.
Oh,
Um,
Deb. Hi, Deb. You're
the two
laughing.
the two of them, they kept giving me this, you can do
Right.
more, you can do more, and suggested that I go to grad school. And I had never even considered it. Alistair McCartney also, suddenly
Mhm.
was saying, you should go. You should go. We'll write your recommendations. And I ended up leaving my home, giving up my little place in Culver City.
That's like our literary uprising trio right there, you just
Yes,
described.
yes. And I came to New York and went to Sarah Lawrence Grad School, probably one of the more senior in age people in the school, but it was wonderful. And there they just believe in you as well from day one. They believe you're going to write a book, and they let you do it. And that's what happened.
Right. And that's, really what an MFA typically encompasses, right? It's like, your master's thesis is your
Yes.
oftentimes a debut work, whether it be
Yes.
fiction or nonfiction.